Welcome to Hydro One Case. We will be first starting out with Hydro One's origin. Hydro One was once known as Ontario Hydro. The Energy Competition Act of 1998 caused the restructuring of Ontario Hydro to occur. The company was split in two. The other half is what is known as Hydro One, which is the business that is responsible for billing and collection, repair, and maintenance and expansion of power line infrastructure. Hydro One is the one that you call when your lights go out, and they are also the ones that go out to fix the problem no matter what the conditions are like. Following the restructuring, the company faced multiple speed bumps along the way. Hydro One had a failed initial public offering, and Hydro One also decided not to proceed with the IPO. This is never a good sign when a company was initially trying to go public and then fails to go public and then rescinds the offering. Hydro One also had two CEOs leave the company and came out of a strike. All of these things had to be inherited by Formosa. At this time, we move on to the present. Formosa took over the company and all the baggage that it came with. She had to figure out a way to fix Hydro One. She knew that by having a 90% customer rating and an A credit rating, she was going to have to implement an enterprise risk management program that would be as effective as the JPL Enterprise Risk Management Program. Hydro One objectives include customer service, cost cutting, safety, and strategic plan. For customer service, Hydro One became the first company to provide customers with free power cost monitors, which gave customers a quick and easy way of seeing their real-time spending on electricity. These monitors helped reduce consumption by 8%. Cost-cutting led to the departure of 140 staff and a hiring freeze. Rating agencies Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Dominion recognized the improvements in the financial profile and upgraded the company's Debt A, A2, and A high. The safety of workers on the front line who are battling extreme weather conditions while handling high-voltage equipment is an area of extreme importance to Hydro One. Proper training in order to handle these conditions has been put in place to further the safety first principle. Strategic plan is a vision to have the best safety record in the world. Risks Hydro faces include loss of employees while operating costs remain high, workforce not engaged, reputational risks, and safety. Due to the loss of 140 employees from a cost-cutting initiative, an 18-week strike followed in response, and this could cause less ability to meet strategic objectives set by management with so many not working. Workers who were under CEOs in the past may have felt a certain loyalty to them, and once they were replaced, the workers' lack of focus increased. An example would be the CEO approved $45,000 of business expense on a secretary's credit card and then approved her claim himself. From this example, people could question the integrity of Hydro. In workshops, a list of 8 to 10 risks were addressed, leading into a conversation of relative significance and then voted using a 5-point scale. The first vote is known as the magnitude vote, where the group is beginning to understand the risk. The second vote is where tolerance comes in and hits on how a risk could hurt Hydro One and the likelihood of that risk occurring. Then an impact is set to that certain risk. Lastly, a list of action steps to mitigate the top risks is given to management to be carried out accordingly. In preparation of going public and complying with the Toronto Stock Exchange, an enterprise risk management program was started. Prior to the program, there was little collaboration on projects. Resources were allocated to whoever yelled the loudest or had the highest rank within the company. There was little opportunity for peer-to-peer discussion and little structure. The program has led to projects being successful, and the success is measurable. Enterprise risk management is now integrated deep in their culture and is there to stay. Phase 1 of the 3 phases of enterprise risk management at Hydro One is risk workshops and the Delphi method. In Phase 1, 60 to 70 risks are identified and listed. Meetings are held, and everyone is asked to rank the risks according to their severity. After this, the ranking is discussed and there is another vote. Once the management team has assessed risks and controls, the risk officers prepare a risk map a two-dimensional rank-ordered chart of residual risks. Phase 2 is reviewing the corporate risk profile. Twice a year, in January and July, Fraser and his team prepare a corporate risk profile report for the executive team. The profile reflects the managerial assessments of risks that were identified in interviews with executives. Prior to the interviews, Fraser sends each manager a 2-page list of headline news from the past 6 months and the summary of the previous corporate risk profile. It is necessary to produce biannual reports because risks do not remain static. Phase 3 is risk-based investment appraisal and planning. In the final phase of the enterprise risk management process, senior management sets priorities for the maintenance and building programs based on the risks identified. They produce a, quote, bang for the buck index to show the risk reduction per dollar spent and ranked the investment programs accordingly. The similarities are varied throughout each of the ERMs to their respective cases. First, they held regular meetings and interviews frequently to monitor how the risks may have shifted. These regular meetings help conduct to see if the risk had become more of a hazard or lessened over time. Second, they encouraged staff to question assessments from each other. Each of the personnel could ask about the risks or give insight. Slight difference is that everyone in Hydro One is included, while in JPL only the designated team was assigned to that particular one. Third, they ranked threats based on severity and frequency. Each ranking was given a number, 1 through 5, to set a level of severity or frequency. Both used the Delphi method. Fourth, they allowed others to collaborate on risks. All of the employees at Hydro One were able to collaborate on these risks, which is true to some extent for JPL, but just limited to that specified risk. For differences, first, JPL had a third-party source to come in and analyze each risk. These third-party examiners gave insight that may have been overlooked. No one is perfect, ladies and gents. Second, Hydro One ranked how each risk could potentially affect the environment. Since this was a company conducting its operations on the planet, it took into consideration how the environment would be affected. Third, JPL kept each part of the mission, design, and risk separate. Yes, people did put their 2 cents in on the risk, but only to their own risk, so there was some collaboration. Fourth, John Fraser wanted everyone's perspective for each risk. John Fraser encouraged everyone to give insight. He really appreciated that everyone did that. Relationships flourished with the consideration of their ideas to be implemented against the risks presented. While these risks are being talked about more and more, the company becomes more stable and can handle risks as they occur. Handling the risks kept their main objective of customer satisfaction on the forefront. This led to the, quote, smart meters, which allowed consumers to monitor their own energy consumption. The company was able to maintain a, quote, bang for the buck mentality, as more severe, expensive risks were taken with the utmost priority. Given that high risks were still able to occur, safety became the main topic throughout the company as well as meetings. Hydro One was very interactive across the board, inviting everyone's perspective. In doing so, the culture of the factory was more positive. This allowed relationships to flourish and cultivated a team that would not resign or look for new places to work. John Fraser's ERM worked great for Hydro One, but it wouldn't have the same effect as with JPL. JPL was a science exploration. This had specified teams working on specific aspects. The functionality of this was better since they were masters of the trade, so to speak, with regards to their specialization. Having them interact in different areas could have caused more problems in productivity. The big picture includes building more connections with the outside world, with people outside of the company. This would allow for an understanding on all parts of the business. The company will be able to better understand more of the risks that they are exposed to. Moving forward, the ERM can keep a claims list of all the accidents that occurred and implement strategies on preventing them. In the future, Hydro One can investigate being a parent and develop a captive. The ERM lowers the weighted average cost of capital, which would raise the NPV since they have an inverse correlation based on the future cash flow. This, in turn, adds value to Hydro One. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to talking with you guys in the discussion.